States of matter. What are states of matter? States of matter are the distinct forms in which matter can exist. Now, there are three main types of matter. There is solid, liquid, and gas. So, solid keeps its shape, has a fixed volume, and does not flow. So it keeps its shape, meaning if you hit it with a hammer, it's not going to fall apart, or it's not going to change its shape. And the fixed volume means that you can't compress it or make it bigger unless you add matter to it. And does not flow means it won't take the shape of the container. So you can't put a brick in a cup and pour it to another cup. It won't take the shape of the cup. Now, a liquid does not keep its shape. So you can pour a liquid from a glass to a bowl and it will go to the shape of the bowl. And it has a fixed volume, meaning you can't expand it or compress it without adding any matter, and it does flow, meaning you can pour it. Now, gas does not keep its shape, just like liquid, but it has no fixed volume, which means you can compress it. So you can make gas take up more space without adding matter, and it does flow. Now, solids are normally colder and gases are normally warmer because gases particles have more energy and solid particles have less energy. Now, why do they change the state just because of the energy? Well, the colder particles have little energy and don't move as much, and the warmer particles have lots of energy and move more. This is a close-up of a solid, and you can see that the particles are vibrating in place and they're not moving away from each other. This is because they don't have enough energy to break apart from each other, so they have to stay in one place, which gives solids its properties of not being able to flow and keeping the volume. Now, the liquids here, you can see that they go past each other, but they're not moving freely. So these ones have a little more energy than the solids, but not as much as the gas, and that gives this its properties of keeping the same volume, but it's able to flow from a different container to another. Now, the gases, as you can see, are moving freely, and they have a lot of energy, so they can move all around. And this gives gas its properties of being able to flow, but to also change its volume, because the particles can get a lot closer together than they already are. You just saw how the particles of solids, liquid, and gases move. So now what happens when they change from one to the other? Well, here you have a candle. Now the flame heats up the wax, which is a solid, and turns it into a liquid. This is because the heat from the flame is heating up the wax, which gives the particles more energy, which means they move around more, so it turns a solid to a liquid. Now, in this cup, there is condensation building up on the cup because the water vapor in the air is cooling off when it touches the glass, because the glass is cold. Now, the ice cream is melting because of heat from the sun, and that's changing the particles of the solid to the liquid because they're getting energy from the sun. Now, in the teapot or kettle, there's water inside, and it is heating up and turning into a water vapor. Now, when it gets heated up from the stove, the water changes into a gas, which means it moves freely, which is why it goes out of the kettle. So we need to remember that states of matter is the distinct forms in which matter can exist. So remember the characteristics of each of them. So solids, they keep their shape, they do not and cannot flow, and they have a fixed volume. Now, the liquids, they don't keep their shape, but they do flow and they have a fixed volume. But the gases do not keep their shape, but they do flow and they do not have a fixed volume. Now remember, the states of matter change when the particles gain or lose energy. So remember, solids have particles that are tightly packed together and are in an arrangement. The liquids have particles that are close together but with no arrangement and they flow past each other. And the gases have particles that move around freely. Thanks for watching. Hope you had fun with science.